Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's October 26th of 2022. I'm a little depressed. I've been into shortwave listening, amateur radio, all types of things. I tracked the first Sputnik, Russian satellite that went up, Sputnik 1. Got a verification card from the USSR. I've done all kinds. There's a book out about shortwave listening, I believe, shortwave listening. And I'm featured multiple times in the book. I started shortwave listening when I was in high school, or before I was in high school. It's been a lot to me. There's a lot of things I did, a lot of things I wanted to do. I haven't actually communicated to the International Space Station. I've received the signals, as it passed over this area. I've never transmitted to it. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff years of things happening. When I went to high school for 4 years, every morning I would wake up and immediately turn on the shortwave radio, and as I was getting ready for school, listen to a regional station from Australia. And when I would come home from high school, come in the door, I would turn on the shortwave radio and listen to Radio Netherlands and other things. And I remember when one of the popes passed away, I tuned into Vatican radio and the interval signal. The station had different things for interval signal, so you could be listening, even if it was in another language, you could be tuning in the frequency, and then you'd hear that interval signal, and you would know what station it was. Anyway, the Pope passed away, and I tuned in my shortwave radio to the Vatican radio, and listened and heard their little, I forget what it was at the time, probably still the same since it's the Vatican. And then I remember when forget what the Latin was. Jesus, I can't remember. I was an Oliver boy, by the way. That has nothing to do with radio. But then I heard they announced it was the English broadcast of Vatican radio. They announced I forget how they put it. The Holy Father passed away or whatever, and chills went up up my spine. Just shortwave radio and the people I met through shortwave radio. I put out a publication for shortwave listeners for years. I did a radio program that was broadcast over WRUL radio around the world 3 times a week, depending on the season, because of it having changed frequencies because of the ionosphere and what have you. And so actually it was 2 times a week, and then there was one season when it was 3 times a week or something like that, and all types of things. Anyway, why am I depressed? And I haven't been. This is not about politics. That's enough to make anybody depressed. But I'm not going to. I might choke on these pills when I'm taking them. I don't want to be. I'll wait here in a second because this is going to end here in a minute. Anyway, the Republican Party. I forget how far back, before Trump, I believe. And things were changing in the world with telecommunications and telephones and cell phones and all this type of stuff. And the Republican Party, now I'm not really upset about the, well, let me go ahead and, whoops, wait a minute, let me go here so I can show you as I'm talking. Um, but and I guess I really can't blame the Republican because I because I can't renew my that licenses was good for 10 years. Every 10 years you had to renew your ham license. You had to, of course, to take a test in order to become an amateur radio operator. But the Republican Party was, getting money from massive communications companies. All the cell phone companies wanted more spectrum, radio spectrum, so they could do more things, which they've actually started doing. Making more available and different flavor. And so they gave these AT&T, just all of them. Anyway, just mention any Sprint. I mean any cell phone company too. They all wanted frequencies. Ham radio operators have a lot of frequencies, bands assigned to them that they have to transmit. Well, right now I can say that we have to transmit within those bands, within those powers, using the whatever. But ham radio operators have, over all the years, have done tremendous things for the community and disasters. No matter when disasters happen, when storms, whatever, when the space shuttle exploded over Texas, of course, police, fire, and EMS, and everybody. Well, they didn't need EMS. I'm sure they were out there helping. But ham radio operators were fundamental in that because we. Let me put this medicine down here. Because ham radio operators, had the equipment and the training in order to use APRS and other things. So when little pieces of the space shuttle, were found, amateur radio operators were vital in being there to get the exact position of the item, and that was, very important. But anyway, the large communications companies wanted. I guess this is the water bill. I think the cat bill. Yeah. Trash bill $10 a month. Water bill $36.95 a month, for a total of $46.95. The rent here, this apartment, I think it's $1,200 or something like that a month. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Anyway, the large communications companies gave money to the Republican Party, and the Republican Party was, they have an issue, and they finally, anyway, from the history of amateur radio, there was no license fee because amateur radio operators do things for the community. When there's storms, there's Skywarn, amateur radio operators out there, some in vehicles and all everywhere out, looking for storms and reporting it to the Weather Bureau, and all types of things. They've just done great services, but and never paid a fee, for their. Of course, we bought equipment stuff from private companies, and but the corporations, the businesses, whatever, gave a lot of money to Republicans, and Republicans in Congress pressed that for the first time that amateur radio operators should pay a membership or pay a fee for their license. And so the Congress decided on $35 for a 10-year license or whatever. So, and it just started, and my license is, it just started fairly recently. And my license is going to expire, I think, here at the end of the month in a few days, I believe. And so I logged on to pay the fee of $35, and I just spent 2.5 hours. I'm surprised I haven't been cussing. Normally I start cussing when something like this happens, and I logged in. Of course, I haven't logged in I guess since I changed addresses or something, because you have to keep your address up to date and that kind of thing. So I logged in to pay the money, and it just ran me through. I had the old data. I had from over 10 years ago, from way back. But they have changed something with their thing. So I had to, for 2.5 hours, and finally I figured out part of it. They wanted a different password, and they told you it had to have, I think, no more than 15 characters, I think, and 12 was that you had to have at least 12, and they had all these rules about, and just a whole bunch of information like this. And I spent 2.5 hours, which I don't know. If you watch my videos, keep everything simple. Keep it simple. Don't make it complex. Computers are also supposed to be, doing the work for us. And anyway, for 2.5 hours, I went through this thing. And then finally I got to the point where I was able to log in, and I had, and then I log in, and I forget what it was. They needed some more information. I forget, it sounded like a simple thing, more information. And then it just, it didn't work. They sent me a thing, and then I had to answer back with something else. And so I've been, listening to shortwave radio. I told you about putting out a printed publication for years. I did a radio program that was broadcast over shortwave radio to Europe, Africa, and all around the world. I can't remember the various things. I was director of Research Group C for the Satellite Scatter Coordination Group of MIT. Not that I'm smart, and not that I just happen to be in charge of Research Group C, which was amateur radio operators and shortwave listeners who we set up some things for them to do, like when there was a nuclear blast Project Needles, when there was a nuclear blast up in the ionosphere, which I don't think I thought it was a good idea, and I don't think a lot of scientists thought it was a good idea. The United States launched a bunch of very, very small needles up into space. No, okay, they didn't blast. That wasn't nuclear. That was just they launched those up there, and there were people thought, God damn, the United States, what the fuck are they doing? What if that disrupts, worldwide communications or whatever? Of course, scientists here said, no, not a problem. And then we also set off, nuclear blast in space, and to see what, and so we were listening to on frequencies, between points, and for research group C. Well, anyway, I've done a lot over the years. Okay, this appears to be the end. I spent 2.5 hours trying to give the Federal Communications Commission my $35, and that's it. I'm not going to now. Maybe something will come up, you know. And if I do renew, I'm 81 years old, 10 years license. I don't think I'll have to renew again. I mean, 10 years will probably be. But I'm disappointed, but I'm also kind of relieved. One thing is I don't have much money, and computers, the way I'm doing it, and the way I think most of you are doing it, is it's a hobby in addition to everything else. And also I'm interested in photography, of course, always have been. Shortwave radio, ham radio, photography. I can't afford, I can afford one hobby maybe, but I can't afford this.
Mid-60s. Saturday night, partly cloudy. Lows in the upper 40s. Sunday, sunny. Highs around 70. Sunday night, mostly clear in the evening, then becoming partly cloudy. Lows in the upper 40s. Monday, sunny. Highs in the lower 70s. Monday night, mostly clear. Lows in the lower 50s. Tuesday, sunny.
I'll just go back to channel 1 here. Come on, somebody be on the channel. I could still talk to him, but on one of the channels, I could still talk to him. After a few days, I won't be able to. But in a way, I haven't been hardly using the ham radio, at all myself. I've made some videos. I think there's some videos on here. I'm up to channel 24. Yeah. There's so many options. There's a whole bunch of repeaters located in cities around the world. Small, just with this ham radio, I have gone to a channel, amateur radio operated channel that connects to other. I talked to some guy, a farmer in Australia or whatever. My daughter has a dual citizenship. She has a Swedish passport. And I was talking to her one time about, Sweden. And she's here now, she has dual citizenship. And I said, well, what's a town, and she gave me. And I said, okay. So I just, used the radio. And then I found a site here in Dallas-Fort Worth area that had links to the internet, through, and so then I talked to, I logged into using the radio with the local repeater here, and then connected with a repeater in that town in Sweden and talked to somebody with my, the stuff that you can do is just amazing. And it's, educational and whatever. But so this may be the end of it for me, because I'm surprised I spent 2.5 hours even trying. If you watch my videos, my idea with everything is keep it simple. Keep it simple. And the computer's supposed to be doing the work. I'm not supposed to. I'm too old to be thinking, And anyway, what did I want to? Anyway, let me go over here and scroll down a little bit to give you a little bit of an idea of what. Let's go back up here. Amateur radio, also known as ham radio. The amateur satellite service. By the way, there are hams, of course, around the world. I forget the king. Several kings had amateur radio licenses. A lot of scientists and other people have had ham radio licenses. What was the? I better put this back. Keep trying to pick up my medicine. I need to wait, or else I'll probably choke on it. Oh. The United States Senator. Just almost there. Anyway, he was a ham radio operator for a Republican, by the way, for his life, Let's see. Ham radio activities and practices. Various modes of communications. Frequency modulation, single sideband, Morse code. Licensing. Boo. See, the amateur radio operators too, they do, they give the test themselves. I mean, it has to be approved. The ones who give the test have to have a certain grade higher than when they're. I'm just a technician at the beginning, stage. And there's general, and then there's extra. I think that's it. And all type, licensing requirements. I'll put a link to this in case you're interested. In case somebody wants to replace me as call signs. My call sign is N0UWY. Anyway, I'll put a link to this page here. Anyway, maybe something will pop up. Maybe I'll take a nap in a dream or something. Oh, that's what I needed to do, was do such and such there. Because going through, it was like, okay, you have to have at least 12 letters or numerals or something but it can't be more than 18 or something. I forget what it was. And then it had to be, a lowercase letters, uppercase letters, a pound sign or dollar sign. I mean, just, crap, it's all that kind of stuff. Anyway, how many minutes I've been? Oh, only 23 minutes. By the way, I have lost, I noticed, I think 4 or 5 subscribers recently. The idea is to gain subscribers. I think I've got 3,500 subscribers or something like that. But the idea is, and I think YouTube started in, when was it? Well, whenever it was, I was there when they opened the door, And it's taken me all this time to get 3,500 subscribers. I don't want to be losing. So please, click on the link below and subscribe. And then click on the thing also to, get notified when I post a new video. Also, the link you see above takes you to Amazon. And once you use that link and you go there, if you purchase something on Amazon, I get a small commission, a very small commission. Over the years, a year or two ago or something, I had a couple months where 2 months in a row I made $70, and then it went back to the normal thing, which is I don't know, $2 a month or $10 a month in commissions from Amazon, Amazon or something. So it doesn't cost you anything. Please use the link above, and maybe I'll get enough money in that I can start a new hobby. That was supposed to be a joke, but it's not funny. What else? Guess that's it. You can see I'm using the Blue Yeti. Today I was talking to my son, about, I should change this or do that, and then I thought, no, this is after things did not go well with the. But I thought, no, every time I change something, as soon as I get something working, I change it. And anyway, I told him, he agreed with me, and I said, I don't think I should touch anything. Once it works, don't touch it. So, anyway, thank you very much for watching. You'll make me feel better, I guess. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And or use the link, and for not, don't go buy something, just, but it does not cost you anything at all. So I know because I was around, in the beginning, and for some reason it's just instilled into us. I guess especially the old timers, but I think the new people too. It's like we think that the internet should be free, and but we not. I donate, not like, because I don't have much money, but I've donated to sites and paid for software that everybody else doesn't pay for. The first webcam program that a guy made money from. I was, he was doing the software and writing the software, and his wife was telling him, you're never going to make any money if you're just wasting your time or whatever. And he came home one day, and of course he had the software running on his, from his place, webcam software, and he came home and opened up the mailbox, and there was a check. That was before PayPal and whatever. There was a check in there for him. I paid for his software. I was the first one to pay for the software. And anyway, then I logged in that day, to his site, and then he jumped in there and he said, thanks, Jim, for paying for the software. You're the first one that paid. My wife has been telling me that I wasn't going to make any money, and so anyway, I kept logging into his site. He kept asking me for, what improvements he could make. I had other people that do the same thing. I guess I'm not very good at, because they would be a chat program or be something or other, and I would pay for the software, and a lot of other people wouldn't pay for it, not going to pay money for something, And but anyway, this guy says, my wife told me I wasn't going to make any. Anyway, later on, well, he would ask me for what can I do to improve this? I can't think of anything. It's perfect now, Anyway, I logged in one time and he said, well, I sold the software. And then a few years later, of course, I was, when I was working at CompUSA in Miami, that software, and it was the only one on the shelves. I mean, only webcam software on the shelf. You know, there was all kinds of other stuff on the shelf of CompUSA, but his software was on there. So anyway, thank you very much for watching.